So this is going to be an extremely brief introduction to complex numbers, but basically complex numbers are going to be any number that includes I, which is equal to the square root of -1. When you see this notation, this just means that the real part of the complex number z is equal to a, and the imaginary part of this complex number z is equal to b. And so since it's defined differently, this point is going to be plotted differently on the plane. So with normal numbers and points, we have an x-axis and a y-axis, and we plot them based on that. However, with complex numbers, we use the argand, or the complex plane, and instead of the x and the y-axis, we have the real axis and the imaginary axis. So instead of going over x units, you go over whatever the real part of the complex number is, and then you go up the imaginary number of units. And so anything that doesn't have an imaginary component that stays on this line is a purely real number. And so that would be anything in the form z equals a. And then anything that doesn't have a real component that's solely on this axis is a purely imaginary number. And these are going to be in the form of z equals bi, because there's no real component because we're not going in either of these directions.